lately I've been noticing that there's some things I just don't give a fuck about anymore. Namely, things like people pleasing and minimizing myself just to make other people more comfortable. And so I don't know whether this is just something that comes as you get a little bit older, whether it's, because I'm a lot more secure in myself or what, that you sort of think, you know what, with kindness and with respect, that's not for me. And you start setting up boundaries and, things like, respecting your free time more or your peace more or something than perhaps you used to. Not turning into, a Karen or anything like that. But just, for me, it's more things like, sometimes being a little bit more candid, not always, like if you ever wanted to just be able to speak your mind, like one of the Golden Girls or something, like those ladies seem to have no filter. And I know they were sort of in their 40s and 50s and things, or at least they were supposed to be portraying 40 and 50-year-olds from in the 80s or whatever it was. But yeah, some of them were quite funny, quite harsh at times. And yeah, it was certainly interesting. And I've started to wonder, is that something that just kind of comes with age? Like my grandma, I distinctly remember being maybe about 13 years old. She's come over from Malaysia and she and I were, I think, in a bank or something. And she just pipes up and not loud, not speaking quietly either. She's like, "Oh, somebody stinks. They need to wear deodorant." And I was like, "Oh my God, Granny, you can't say that. What if they hear?" She said, "Who cares? They'll just turn around and see my white hair and think, she's a crazy old lady." And that's it. And I'm just like, what? And funny thing is, I noticed my mum do that. Is it because my mum's a grandma and so now she too is like whatever, or is it because she's just comfortable talking to me? Are people just comfortable being around me, saying whatever? I don't know. But it's come along where you sort of are feeling a bit more comfortable, perhaps, sort of speaking your mind or speaking up. I mean, I guess Mum and Granny were both speaking up for fresh air or other people's comfort or something. I don't know. Self-awareness, I guess. I don't know. But when you're a bit more comfortable talking about what your needs might be when it's appropriate to say them, Yeah, I find myself sort of saying things like, working in emergencies, that's for young people, man. I can't bother doing that anymore. When I think about the long shifts, the really busy, stressful, lots of pressure, and, night shifts and things, and I just think, nah, that's not for me anymore. And part of me used to feel a bit bad, like I was somehow a bit of a failure or less than or something, because I wasn't working like that anymore. I admitted defeat, and it's like, who cares? Still working, still in the same profession, still enjoying doing things, still looking after folks in a way that actually responds with me better, working in an area that's not as high pressure, but still has a lot of the things I enjoyed about working in emergency, still has, fun stuff that you're getting to see and do, lovely people. The teamwork aspect of ED was certainly a big plus, and I still have that in the area that I'm working in. So, yeah, I just don't have night shifts, and overall, life is a bit more peaceful. And, there'll be shifts that will come up, but I don't feel pressured. I'm not putting pressure on myself to pick up extra shifts anymore. And, I feel comfortable sort of saying, no, it's cool. There'll be other shifts. If I want some extra money, I can take on some extra shifts, but I don't always need to. And it's nice having that choice. I understand that is a privilege and not everybody is in that position. But for me, it's working right now for me. Kind of wondered whether this has now turned into a bit of a chicken and egg situation, like, did I start listening to myself first and therefore then prioritizing myself and my needs? Or did I start prioritizing me and what I might need? And then did I start listening to myself to know what those things were? I don't know, really. All I know is that it just seems to be working for me. And so I guess I'd like to invite you, if you too are sort of finding yourself a bit crankier or frustrated or just internally a bit and there are things that you just don't give a fuck about anymore that perhaps you used to, or you realize that you never really did and it was never really a benefit to you, then I'd like to encourage you to sit with yourself, try and work out what you want and what you're no longer willing to compromise on, and see where that takes you, and how just noticing those things has you seen the world a bit differently. Maybe you might find a bit more peace the way that I do, a bit more peace and acceptance, or not. Who knows? If you're not sure where to start, there are some journal prompts as a free download for you, just in the description box. So yeah, give it a go. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon. Bye.